We are recording.
God
what
damn,
episode
dude.
are we even up to?
Episode 4, back
away
with
we
the technical difficulties. Welcome back to the Firehouse podcast.
Take this shit off. This is driving me nuts.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, just 2 weeks of absolute stress trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Phil's brain is fried.
My brain's fried. Kevin's brain's been fried.
Thanks a lot.
Go to volleyhousepodcast.com to ask us questions or send in stories or videos you'd like us to review. And also give us a follow on all social media platforms at Volleyhouse Podcast. As you can see, we changed it up a bit. Got the new microphones. We got wires everywhere.
Hopefully it worked right.
Hopefully we sound good. We should sound good.
You know, what we should have done is, for like a little drill thing is,
Would have, should have.
yeah, bought in an SCBA. You know, go over the quick escape maneuver with all
Yeah.
these fucking wires. Because that's how you get caught up. All right, well, we're back. Let's get into it. Kev.
My train of I don't even know. How do we start this? My train of thought is just freaking shot.
Well, let's start off with multi-purpose webbing.
Yep. You start
Fire
right
that off.
Is it here? It's here. It is.
All
All
right.
right. Right here.
Multi-purpose webbing is a firefighter-owned business dedicated to creating products that facilitate fireground efficiency.
On the camera? Yeah.
The MPW personal carry is a webbing system designed for simpler firefighter and civilian removal. The MPW can be separated to allow for search, haul, and utility function. The rated system comes complete with dual-action palm-activated carabiner, mil-spec webbing, and carry case. Our glove clamp is by far the best solution for out-of-pocket glove carry. Never lose a glove again. Use discount code VHP15 for 15% off site-wide. That's multi-purpose webbing. Discount code VHP15 for 15% off site-wide. All right, Kev.
Yes, sir.
Or Phil.
Let's do it.
Worst drill ever attended.
Worst drill. Ugh, I've had a couple, but
You think there's one in particular, like drill that you went to that you're like, this sucked, or is there like a type of drill that you don't like going to that sucks?
Engine drill. Hose handling drills.
Yeah.
there's no drill I hate to go to as long as it's something that engages me and makes me want to do something, or yeah, I mean, I've been to some joke ones where, you know, the person giving the drill's wearing shorts and flip-flops, and I was just turned off right away, you know, like, that's no good. Like, you got to lead by example if you're going to be an instructor, you know. It's hard. Or, like, when they're saying, oh, it's a portable ladder drill, and we're putting up Christmas lights, you know. It's like, it's not really a drill, but, you know, it's tough.
I don't like drills where the drill instructor, officer, whoever's in charge, does not have gear on. Even if they're wearing...
Lead by example.
Yeah, you got to lead by example.
I don't like when guys are not wearing gear.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was at one drill where every time we seemed to get it down or we have it, they would change the drill on us. Like, they're like, all of a sudden it's this. And it's like, now you're trying to do that. And then it's like, you got that down. And it's like, no, you can't use that tool. And it's like, what are you doing to me? You know?
I feel like sometimes that's happened at certain places. I'm not going to mention, but you'll be going through an evolution, and you'll be going through like what you would like to do or what you see in front of you, and then they'll say, "Oh no, that's out of play. That staircase is out of play." Right. And I get it. That could be like a real thing.
That could be
to
realistic.
Happen.
You know,
right.
There are times where that happens. You know, we want to succeed in training or fail in training so that we learn from the mistakes. And having something that's outlandish could happen on the fire ground, so I agree. But you can't keep doing to people over and over and over
right.
again. You know, they have to succeed at some point. Or, you know, if they make a mistake, you want them to make the mistake so they learn from the mistake.
Right.
But we don't want to see people get hurt either. If it's a safety issue, you have to stop it.
There was one where I literally had a hose line with the team about halfway through the stairs, and then an instructor came and was like, "Oh no, these are out of play." Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, what the fuck, man? Like, I get it. It could happen.
Probably didn't see you
Yeah,
go down the stairs
that's what
and
it was.
missed it. So,
It's just difficult. Like I get it. You want to throw guys, out of their
Well,
element.
it's realistic because on the fire ground, things could happen, right? We talked a little bit about alterations of buildings and changes
Yeah.
that happen, buildings being split up, things like that. So, or, a firefighter does go down or you do come across a victim right away. That happens. So you're used to saying, I want to stretch the line. I know I'm going in to put the fire out. And now you're going in with the hose line and there's 2 bodies laying there. That's realistic. So now what do? Do I stop advancing the line? Can I get past them? Do I pull the people out? So things are going to happen in front of you, and it's going to change your operation no matter what. And we have to be prepared for that. But when we're drilling and training, you have to be able to succeed at some point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand, obviously maybe guys like us have a little bit of the experience under our belts. Sure, throw a wrench at us, see how we handle it. But like,
Absolutely.
when you're going to a training and you have like 5 probies with you, and they're just trying to learn the motions, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Oh no, this is out of play. That's out of play." That's the stuff that bothers me because it's like now these guys are getting confused, and they're trying to figure out, well, what did we do wrong? Blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Well, you have to have a focus. You have to have objectives when you're setting up training. You want to have some sort of objective of what you're trying to accomplish, right? Mission driven. We're always going to be mission driven. What the people need out there. So we have to look at that and say, what are we trying to accomplish in this drill here? So if we're just practicing hose lines, if we're just practicing, that's one thing. But if we're just having an operation, like when we go to county, we give you sometimes just this is what's going on, pull up and deal with it.
Yeah.
So I know where you're headed here. You're trying to beat me up about the academy.
All right, let's all right, we'll go off that subject.
That's
then.
okay. It's good.
It was
good
it was the academy.
Yeah. It's going to happen. They have to try to trip you up. You can't think that every time you go to the fire academy, it's going to be exactly the same each time.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Because you don't want that because you go in there, you know the rooms over and over. If you have time in the fire department, you're gonna know a lot of that. You know the layout. So by putting a wall in there or closing a door and saying you can't use that anymore, you're used to that.
So
now you're thrown off.
So we had like over by us, our little training area, Mankuski. It's the same thing. You go in there, it's the same setup. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows, all right, I'm going in there, taking a right-hand lead, and it's always the fire's in the same room. Oh, there's fire upstairs, blah, blah, blah. So now what we do is we go in there beforehand, the training committee, and we'll board stuff up where like guys cannot get through.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, now it trips them up. Now they're like, oh, okay, this is different. Like there's a wall here now.
Right.
Or we'll put like, one of those the doors, like the training doors.
Forcible entry door?
In the middle of the hallway.
Right.
You guys got to force your way through that and, get to where you're going.
It's very hard in these type of buildings, training academies and stuff like that because you can't change too much. I mean, some of the newer buildings that are out there or being constructed, they have movable walls now or movable doorways. There's a lot of different options out there or, setups so that you can change it from time to time because you don't want it always being the same.
Right.
But, the older type buildings and the buildings that are set forward, you can't change them too much. I mean, you go into a private house, it's mostly going to be the same layout, but time to time there is an alteration and a change or a different room or an apartment, and that is going to trip you up. So you have to be prepared for that.
So on the contrary, best drill you've ever attended?
I like the advanced auto extrication at the academy. We did it with a bus maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been there since.
An underride?
But that was a good one. That was a really good one.
Yeah.
Nassau Fire Academy is excellent, I must say. I love going to the Nassau Fire Academy.
They burn hot.
You guys go there? You pay to go to Nassau?
We try and get at least one. We haven't gone in maybe 2 years.
Right.
But we try and get maybe one just to get out there. Different scenery. I was just saying to the company because we know the Suffolk buildings.
Sure.
We know the taxpayer and the Class A. So it's a good change up. Like maybe I remember in Nassau I think there's like a high rise or a warehouse, one or the other. I think it's actually both. But
They have garden apartments
yeah,
too. And
That
garden
that
apartments
building
is the
gets
good one.
that gets hot.
Yeah,
That building.
but I very vaguely remember them, so it's nice to go do live fire training.
Yeah,
That's
change it
different.
up.
Yeah, change it up.
And we're very blessed on Long Island here, between Suffolk, Nassau, and even some of these departments that have their own facilities now. So, there's a lot of departments that have their own training academies. You go to some place in the country, they don't get the option. We had people come down from Massachusetts to Joey D, Rhode Island, stuff like that. They came down and they were like, wow, this academy's great. We don't get to do this, And we get a chance to do it more often, or use another fire department's facility, or have something in our backyard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of departments on Long Island that have something that they can go to.
Yeah, we bounce
So-
around to Mancuski and Smithtown. Central Islip has this like smoked out facility that they use, which is great.
Have you
So
been
it's
to
nice.
Comax? You see what Comac built?
I have not been to Comac, no.
Oh my, they got a nice setup out in
At
the
the-
back
not
of their
at their main
station.
house?
What's that?
Main house or a different station?
No, substation.
Substation.
Hagerman's got a good one too.
Hageman's
They
got a nice
great-
one.
Great
We used that this
burn
year for the
building.
Joey D.
Yeah,
We
it's a
did
great burn
secondary
building.
I
training.
actually did a drill
with
at
on-scene
Hagerman.
training.
I forget what it
We
was.
went a couple years ago.
I don't remember. I don't remember what the drill was. I'm saying.
There's a lot of options.
the
We're like I said, we're pretty blessed. I mean, overall of options that we have and equipment we have on Long Island. You go to a lot of areas, they don't have the money, the tax base, the vehicles, the equipment. So,
So we did a drill that I wrote down. The training committee, we did Firefighter Olympics, and this was just a way more so to engage the members. If it's fun, they're going to remember the drill. So one of the things we did with Firefighter Olympics was SCBA Flip Cup. You know the game Flip Cup, the drinking game?
on the corner.
Yeah. You know that game, obviously.
I'm
So what we
Kevin
did...
knows. I was gonna
Yeah.
wait for him to be
Kevin's
like,
like, oh,
Kevin
beer
doesn't
pong?
know. Kevin
Yeah.
Kevin's too old for that.
Yeah. So SCBA Flip Cup, what we did was we had two companies line up across from each other. They had their packs out with the bottle out. So one end starts, they got to throw their bottle in, get the bottle hooked up, throw their pack on, get on air. Once they're on air and that you hear the next guy, boom, they go. And then you just go down the line till, whoever wins. So we did that, and then we did the SCBA relay race. So you'd start with doing like a reduced profile, right? You get guys going through reduce profile, shuffle the pack to the side. Once they get through the obstacle, tag the next guy. They're now going to do low profile. All right, so they go under an object, get the pack back on, tag the next guy, then they do
So
the quick
each time
escape.
they go through something, they tag the next
They
guy?
tag the next guy. And then the last part of that, we did like a Jeopardy. So we had some SCBA type questions in there, like the name of a certain part of the SCBA. And anytime somebody, like if one team got the answer correct, then there was somebody on the other team that would have to take off one of their pieces of gear, right? Because what we did at the end was a 2-minute drill. So if your team did well, you have a guy that's got his gear on, and all he might have to do is just throw his SCBA on and then go on air, where the other team guy might just have his bunker pants on. Now he's going to put his coat on, his hood, his coat, and then the SCBA and all that stuff. So that was something that we came up with just because we were kind of, doing just regular stuff. We're like, let's throw, make this a little game and see how guys react to it. And we got a lot of good feedback from it. And, you could do that with anything, really. But that just, it happened to be, it was right around the SCBA refresher time. So we're like, let's do this and, see where the guys
So
are
did
at.
it count for your SCBA refresher, or was it a separate drill?
No, that was just a separate drill.
A lot of people say, anytime I put the SCBA on, I'm going to do search drill. It should count towards my, refresher. No, that
No,
doesn't
the
work that way.
refresher's the refresher. This was just, hey, we're on the topic. Let's do it, make it fun. And it helped out, where we at as a department?
Right.
How quickly can these guys put their bottle in their pack, throw it on, get on air, and tag the next guy? So that was the whole thing with both of them.
I like it.
With all three of those. Yeah.
I was going to expand on last week. I was talking about patient packaging in the stoves using the bucket truck. I didn't make the drill this weekend. I have a sick fiance at home I was taking care of. But
Phil.
He's such a good boy.
I'm pretty sure the guys I think they went with using the. And I was texting one of the ex-captains. He's gonna watch this and be like, you're not listening to me." That's the
Perfect.
But I think they did like the part 2 of it, where that was more so packaging focused, and then this one was gonna be like maneuvering. And so funny in Smithtown, you guys just had
That's
freaking
Low angle rescue.
That's my job of the week.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, shut up.
Thanks for letting me know about it.
You got all the stuff on your phone to let you know.
I didn't get a page for it.
They need
I didn't get a page for it.
Oh no, you're in the other division. So
I could have still went. It's tech rescue.
buff. All right, let's get into.
You're right. I am a buff. What can I tell you? I love it.
Frontline Optics.
You didn't ask me about my drill.
Screw your drill.
Oh, thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
How was your
My
drill?
drill went well. You know, it's not just me. I mean, it's everybody. But we had 3 stations set up for forcible entry. So we had 2 doors. We had a blue door and the yellow door. So the East Coast door and the Firehouse Innovation door. So one was set up for inward opening doors, the other one for outward opening doors. And then we had a cutting station outside. So we had corrugated metal on a wall. So they had to cut up high and across and then straight down. So we did that. And then they cut rebar and they also cut chain. We had chain being held by a pair of vice grips and you just cut a link off just to get used to the saw and the reaction of it. So it seemed to be pretty successful. We're going to do it again tomorrow night. But, you know, we didn't try to go crazy. People know what their job is. Just let them use the tools, get comfortable with the tools, starting them, operating them, and, you know, just make sure that everybody's safe.
You had a lot of new guys that were in that drill?
There was some. We had a couple probies that were there, which was good. You know, it's good for them to see
yeah.
it. Because
Get
your
the feel
chances,
for it.
you're not always going to cut chain. You're not always going to cut a piece of rebar or a metal deck. It's hard to simulate that stuff. So we were able to accomplish that. And if there is a roll down or there is a chain or a lock they have to cut, they can do it. They're comfortable.
I think it's good to get those guys, especially, you know, anybody could start up the saw and, you know, rev it a couple times just to check and make sure it works. But to then experience you're cutting a chain,
The torque.
the resistance on it, yeah, the sound that it makes, the sparks flying out, it's good to, you know,
Absolutely.
get that whole, you know, feeling.
What did you guys do? You guys built that garage door type thing?
Yeah.
With like pallets and stuff?
So Home Depot sells these metal sheets. They're like 8 feet long by, I guess they're like 3 feet wide, maybe. And we just framed it with 2x4s and we slid it in.
Yeah, you just slide the garage door sheet through?
Yeah. So actually, we had at the Joey D seminar last year, Bob and Rex Morris were out, and Rex just built this thing really quick. I was like, that's a great idea. So we just kind of mimicked it. You know, we changed it a little bit to make it work, but it's great. You just put a chock in it to hold the metal so it doesn't fly around. And then if you want to loosen it up, like the reaction of a real garage door, because they move a little,
Yeah.
you just loosen it up a little and you let it flop.
You get more play,
So,
yeah.
you know, it's more realistic than, it's not something you do every day. So
Because I feel
try
like
to-
the storefront types, if you were to take a saw to one of those, it's not just going to be like a fixed, it's going to give you a little bit of rattle.
They do, some of them rattle depending on how they're set up and what kind of pressure's on them. It's also a little bit of thicker metal, you know, so if you double up the sheets, you know, that you get at Home Depot, it makes it a little thicker because it will bind on the saw blade a little, you know, when you're doing an actual roll down. So get the saw to bind a little because that's what you're going to deal with when you're out there.
Right.
So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice.
But even cutting the rebar, you figure in, you know, a door that swings out like on a storefront, you know, you get the deadbolt, you just put it in between the door and the frame, and you just cut it. It's the same idea, just cutting a piece of rebar. So
no,
You know, it's
that's
funny.
pretty good drill.
I spoke about I cut up a Jersey barrier a couple weeks back. I go to the firehouse the other day, and my gear is all covered in shit. It's covered in dust and stuff. And I look at it. I'm looking around. I'm looking at like my gear rack. I'm like, who the fuck had the balls to wear my fucking gear? I'm like, I just put a fucking captain shield on this, and someone's taking my gear. I'm like, what the hell? And then one of the guys goes, that's
That
from
was
the
you.
drill we did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was gonna say. I was
you
like,
got to clean your stuff up, buddy.
I know, I do have to get it clean. There's nothing worse than going in like a clean pair of jeans and getting all, you know, all bugged out. But,
Yeah.
Well, the GQ image gets all dirty when you go to the firehouse. So.
yeah, right. Mine, the freaking
Frontline Optics, baby. So what makes us different? We know these shades are going to get beat up, which is why we offer a no questions asked replacement program to cover your lost or damaged sunglasses. When the time comes to get yours replaced, all you need to do is cover a $12 service fee and we'll ship a brand new pair to your door. No questions asked. Additionally, a portion of all sales is donated to the First Responders Children's Foundation, supporting loved ones left behind by our brothers and sisters who give the ultimate sacrifice in service to their communities. All our glasses are polarized, and we offer free shipping and returns so you can try them out risk-free. Not enough? We have both Z87 and prescription styles available. Check us out at frontlineoptics.com or on Instagram at Frontline Optics. Use discount code VHP15 for 15% off. All right.
Best part of the podcast.
Tyler loves this
Suspended
part.
or not.
Here we go.
We got some we got some people
I got a
writing
text
in.
today. Some of those stories seem oddly familiar.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got today.
Here's the thing. Full disclosure. These were submitted to us, and the other one I just thought of because I remember hearing and told you about it real quick, and you now that the tables have turned.
Listen, I'm not involved here.
I know, you know the story. So
Thank goodness.
I did see that we got some submissions. Right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's awesome. I love it.
While standing by at another fire department, the standby crew disassembled a car and rebuilt it in the meeting room of the firehouse they were at.
I love it. I think it's
Disassembled a
great.
car?
They took it apart.
Someone's car or like
No, like
They got a junk car.
yeah, it was drill car. Took it apart and rebuilt it up in the meeting room in the firehouse while they were at a.
So it turns
Installation
out,
day.
and I don't know if this happened in my department. I don't know who sent this in, but this actually happened. My godfather was chief at the time.
Did
Herb.
someone reach out to you or it got submitted?
No, this one I just happened
He
to
said
remember.
he remembers it. I don't know how he
you
remembers
just-
it.
and it just so happens that
It's
says-
before you guys were
Yeah.
born.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty funny though.
Hold on.
But anyway, the neighboring department was standing by, and they decided to find an old VW Bug from like the 70s, and they cut it up into a couple pieces. And then they brought it up onto our meeting room floor. They put a blue top down and put it on top of it and reassembled it. And on the door it said like SFD 58230 on it, Satoka, whatever. It was pretty funny. I have pictures of it. After Tyler told me, I said, I got to get the pictures and bring it in.
That's actually a fantastic prank.
It was awesome.
Because
I mean, it had no engine, no floor.
They actually put it together inside the firehouse.
I gotta
Like,
show you
chop
the-
it up with tools, or like they use like
They
ratchets
cut it
and
with like a
wrenches?
sawzall or something. They made a smooth cut and they just put it all back together. It was funny.
That's hilarious.
Could you imagine walking in there and being like, "What the fuck? How's
It
there-"
was
How did-
awesome.
How did this thing get in here?
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I have a picture of the chief like climbing in the window or climbing out of the window of it. Because we got inside it and pretended like he was driving it. It was pretty
if we
fun.
can get a picture of that, I would.
I have it.
I would
I'm
love to
telling you.
post it.
It's up in
on
our firehouse.
I would love to post it on the social media.
Oh
so people
man,
know what
I'll
we're
bring it in
talking
here.
about.
We could blow it up and show everybody. It's pretty cool.
All right, so
can
this
rebuild the car
this
in here.
happened now. So you walk up there, it's like an electric vehicle rebuilt.
An electric vehicle.
Yeah, I'm just
Why
with the
electric?
times.
We don't want an electric vehicle, no.
So what would you say?
No suspension. That's
You
funny
can't-
stuff.
You can't
It's
suspend.
victimless too, right?
It is.
It is. Listen, whoever came up with that idea, I mean, brilliant. That is awesome.
That's a fantastic idea.
That's a fantastic thing to do.
Even if there was like an oil, little oil leak or something like
No,
that.
there was
like,
no
I don't
oil.
even-
It was just
no.
the-
I know.
it
I'm
was
just
just the
saying,
shell.
like, still, like, if that were me, I'd be like, that's pretty funny.
I mean, you've seen those old VW Bugs around, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were literally lightweight. You can literally take 4 guys and pick up that car. And the engine, the motor was like this big. You could drop it out in the car and put a new one in. My father had one when I was a kid. And he needed the engine. He bought another one, took the engine out, threw it in the other one. I mean, you could fully work on that car yourself.
That is so awesome.
Awesome.
I think the only more recent thing similar to that was like a standby company decorated. They took all like the Christmas decorations out and like decorated like in the middle of June. Decorated the fucking firehouse.
I love it.
Wait.
That's great.
I think it might have been at one of the substations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was for a. I think that was a standby.
Yeah, it
Like
was
mutual aid. Like there was a fire. I think, or was it a?
No, I think it was a
installation?
scheduled standby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That one's funny
And they
too.
just decorated
That's
the whole
awesome.
Yeah, decorate they walk in. It's just Christmas. Christmas in July. I guess.
So I got one for you then.
Okay.
So department's standing by for the installation dinner. The installation dinner ends. The chief of the department comes back to the firehouse and goes inside. A couple members stopping on the way home from the installation dinner, decide to jack up the chief's car, put the wheels about a half-inch off the ground, and leave. The chief goes back out to his car, gets in the car, steps on the gas. The car doesn't go anywhere.
What the fuck? But the speedometer
Suspended? Suspended or not suspended? What do you think?
I say no.
I would say no.
harmless.
It is harmless.
That's if you can even prove who did it.
True.
It was a long time ago before cameras and
Before
everything.
cameras.
but
Goddamn
It was
cameras.
pretty funny, though.
That is.
And not even that. He thought that it was standby department did it. And it was members of his own department.
That's.
time to do
It's
it.
classic.
Yeah.
Good time to do it.
Yeah, like frame the standby crew.
Yeah, just to say it was them.
That's a good
awesome.
one. Yeah, I would say no suspension on that.
Funny stuff.
Here is the two that were submitted. First one, putting a goldfish in the rec room water cooler. Just a note, the fish was given a proper home afterwards.
In the rec room water cooler?
So like
Yeah.
one of the big bottles?
Yeah,
The
so
bottle things?
like I guess one of like the big jugs
Oh, like
of water.
a big Poland Spring?
Yeah, they put a put a fish in there.
Who submitted that? Because that happened in my firehouse in the city, actually.
A little gross.
It was not a city fireman.
That you know of.
Yeah, that I know of.
On that form, we should put, do you wish to be disclosed? Or
Do you wish
Yeah.
to be disclosed?
I just for because
So I say no suspension, proper home.
Yeah, proper home, no suspension.
How did the fish survive?
That's a little gross, though, that drinking water.
So
Yeah.
So I'll give you the scenario that they did in my firehouse. We had a lieutenant that pushed, saying the water quality is bad in the firehouse and we need bottled water. So we finally get it, and every day he'd come in and go right to the thing and get a cup of water. And he'd be like, this water is excellent. This water is excellent. So the guys in the firehouse decided to take a bottle, cut a little slit in the back of it, and put a bunch of goldfish in it. But they didn't uncap the bottom. They left it so that it was contained. So he comes in, he's getting water. He's like, this water is excellent. And they're like, did you look in the water bottle? And you see a couple goldfish swimming around. So he freaks out. He's like, you just contaminated the whole thing. And, like, it's capped. It's not going into the...
Right, yeah.
But it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm cool with no suspended.
No suspension. Nah. Proper home.
Yeah. When people start messing around with the animals, I don't like that shit.
I'm getting a lot of laughs
That's
with
what I
this.
said last week, killing a fish, killing a company fish.
Yeah, I don't like
That's
that.
pushing it
Yeah,
a
you
little
can't.
bit.
You can't kill the animals.
Next one. Setting up a cranky, miserable senior guy, setting up his phone to get SMS blasted, like 100+ texts in
Text
less than a
messages?
minute during the department meeting.
That's
So
all-
wait a minute. He didn't
one's
have
gonna
text
know.
messaging, and then they set him up, or they just
No, this is how I take it, is they set him up with some sort of texting thing where he just got blasted with like 100 texts.
That's pretty funny.
I think it's funny.
I don't think no one would know even who did it.
Yeah.
How are you gonna know? Say you did it to.
You would have to know
old
everybody's
man Joe
phone
over
number.
there. How are we gonna know that you did it?
Well, you know what that reminds me of? So, one of our buddies, Matt, he always messes with his parents and told his dad that he signed him up for this stock market thing. And it was called Stonks. But what it was Phil texting his dad every now and then. He would send him like a picture.
stupid meme.
Yeah,
A
stupid
rant.
meme. And he's, check your stonks today. And his dad would always look at it.
Oh,
He's like,
my.
the fuck did you sign me up for? Meanwhile, it's just Phil.
And he'd be like watching hockey or something. If something went bad in the game, I'd be like, whatever, hockey player didn't follow his stonks. He's taking a loss now. And Ozzy's dad is like, he's like, what's good with this? Like, how does this like know about me?
Yeah.
Oh my,
That's what that kind of reminded me of.
so
So
awesome.
So with that, suspended or not,
No suspension. That's funny.
we got to get some.
These have been good. Like these have been. Well, I feel like they're not like.
That bad.
Yeah, they haven't been that bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I used to do? The Chiefs, they pull up to the firehouse, they run inside to keep their cars running and stuff, keep the heat on, whatever, air conditioning. I would go into, I forget which chief it was. But anytime I saw a parked Chiefs car, it was just like I'm beelining it to go do something to it. I'd go onto like Spanish FM radio stations and just blast the shit out of it. Shut the door, and they would get in their car, and they would open the door. They'd be like, "What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
fucking playing this music,
Slapping the
Somebody's in my
dashboard.
car."
I forgot my train of thought. That reminded me of something too. We had one time at a call. It was an automatic alarm, and the chief was in the lift with the guy. They were checking like a ballast or something. And
What, like in a store or something?
yeah,
Like
it was a warehouse.
Oh, like one of those big lifts.
yeah.
I got you. Okay.
And one of the employees of this place, I guess, was like dared by his coworker to go into the chief's car and click the radio on. I'm sorry, the siren. Turn the siren on.
Oh, jeez.
And he does it, and the chief is screaming. But it was so funny. So we're all sitting there, we're watching the chief, and he's yelling at this guy as the lift is coming down. So it was just like really slowly coming down. The chief's yelling at this guy coming down on the lift, and we were all cracking up laughing because we're like, it's fucking harmless, but it was funny. But you can't suspend. Can't suspend on that one.
I'm trying to think of things that people have gotten suspended for, and things that we want to say.
That's a line
I know
you don't want to cross.
Listen, as we get more viewers, I'm sure we're going to get some good ones coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? It's
We
going to
need-
happen.
We need Anonymous Joe from freaking Quag to send something in like, this is fucked up. Like,
Why
this is-
Quag?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the first thing I thought.
Shout out Quag FD, baby.
Is it Quag or East Quag? You know how to spell it?
I used to work out there.
QUOGUE.
Yeah, it's GUE.
I'm
I
not
used
even.
to work right by the East Quag on Montauk Highway.
It was just
over
a
there.
job out that way. Like Southampton or somebody had a job out there.
I know one of the instructors is out there, right?
Yeah, it's a couple.
Yeah. Moving on.
Job of the week. I'm going to give a shout out to my department. They got to do some tech rescue work. I missed it. Pissed.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
So,
We had a,
did you find out exactly what happened? Did the kid was he sledding or did he just fall down into? It was in a sump, right?
Yeah. From what I gathered.
Low
it
angle
was-
rescue?
Yeah. In a sump. It was very steep. Like, it wasn't like, you've seen sumps
Yeah,
before.
I saw the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, it was
and
really,
Instagram.
really steep. Came through originally as EMS call, traumatic injury. Chiefs got on scene, and with the snow that we just got, realized this isn't going to be, get a stretcher backboard down there and, tie this kid up and bring him up. So turned into a much larger operation where we needed, guys down in the sump with him, patient packaging, making sure he was good to go with EMS, and then have your guys up top as the point and get them up that way. So wound up being, a legitimate technical rescue.
With Comac too, right?
Yeah, Comac Fire
and
Department was
Smithtown
there.
worked together.
Yep. Yeah, and they've been,
Shout out to Chach. Was Chach there?
yeah.
Chach was there.
I'm not sure.
He might have.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, we've been working together with Comac Fire Department to build up a tech rescue team, kind of
Yeah, you guys
cover
work
the
pretty
4th
good.
Division.
Yeah,
So we work well together, and that gave us the opportunity to kind of do a little bit of a real life scenario. It wasn't any life threatening injuries or a type of tech.
It's
tech
still
rescue.
needed.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's a lot of departments do not have tech rescue and don't want to get involved, and
It's a lot.
There's people that even within my own department, why do we need all this? Why do we do these specialty things? And it's important because when people's lives are on the line, do you want to wait 20, 30, 40 minutes for somebody to show up to get them?
Yeah.
We're about saving lives, and the quicker response, the better. We always say it, but you have somebody down in a trench or a confined space or down in a hill, and you can't get to them. What are we going to do?
It was funny because we had actually posted that on Long Island Firewire Facebook page. So you guys could follow that too. Somebody commented like, why don't, why you need all that rope and stuff like that? Pick the kid up,
Yeah, pick the kid up and walk away.
Yeah, and it's
So,
like,
Well, when it's
he got
slippery and you can't get up there.
I mean, let me just preface by saying that guy got absolutely shit on in the comments. Everyone went after him because they're like, "Were you there?" Monday morning quarterback. Like,
I hate to be that person. Like even talking about fires and stuff. I don't. Whatever your operation is, and you got it done, you got it done. Can we learn from every operation, good and bad? Absolutely. Even the best operations we can learn from. There's nothing wrong with critiquing and looking at it and saying, yeah, I could have parked the engine in a different spot. I could have put a ladder here, or, could have done this, could have done that. There's nothing wrong with doing the what ifs, but we shouldn't, be putting people down all the time. People look at a picture and they're like, that's one little clip of the entire operation, and it's like people beat it up. Like, why? Oh, the guy's not wearing his gloves or he's not wearing his helmet. It could have been for 1 second that guy took his helmet off or readjusted himself, and they got a picture of that person. So we're so quick to look at the negatives, especially with the social media. People just start beating stuff up. It's not needed. That's BS and all this crap. And stop being so negative at people and start looking at what we're really doing out there. We're helping people. Can we learn? Yeah, absolutely we can learn. But we don't need to just beat people up for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you want to, this is just some random dude on Facebook that just thought, pick the kid up, and
I could look at the pictures and beat it up if I want.
I'm sure
I'm not going to do it.
All of us can. Yeah, but
I'm not going to do it.
You leave that for that particular department to critique if need be. But from what I understand, the operation went very smooth, and what you can see in the video is it looked like it went very smooth. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys, especially
I saw a picture. I didn't even see a video.
Yeah, the video on
Is it on Long Island?
It's on Long Island
Oh, I
Firewire.
thought it was just a picture.
No, it's a video.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I saw some pictures on Facebook.
It looked like they dragged the Stokes up they put down put ground ladders on the ground and
Yeah.
with the Stokes basket.
Yeah, so, minimizing movement. I think there was injury to the leg or both legs, so that's the other part of it too. Minimizing movement, same deal, heavy rescue. Mm-hmm. Cutting somebody out of a car, minimize the movement, in case of a spinal injury, something like that. But it looked like it went very smooth. Mm-hmm. So shout out.
What, was the kid was sledding, or was he just going down and he slipped? Or?
I don't know the exact detail. I think it was sledding. Mm-hmm. And it's, like the area you could see it was like really.
What was it, a sump?
Yeah.
There's a lot of leaves.
Yeah.
It was
Any
some
sump
snow
like
and
that,
ice.
It's just a mess. They're always just a mess.
Yeah.
It's slippery. It's tough getting back up a hill, or even going down without hurting yourself. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to keep ourselves as safe
I
as
could
possible.
imagine half the guys when they got there were probably freaking slipping down too.
Yeah, no, for sure. But they did a great job setting it up and getting the kid out of there into the care of EMS. So shout out to those guys.
I mean, look at the accident with the Suffolk Highway cop. What was that, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So I guess he was trying to stop a guy in a Mustang that was, going over 100 miles an hour or whatever. And I guess the guy hit the cop. Cop flipped over. Tahoe slid into the woods, into the tree. The tree went through the windshield and pinned him. And they cut him out. And, I was watching some of the stuff being posted. And, of course, why they're landing a helicopter in the expressway. He doesn't need, it's just because he's a cop, and that's why they're using the helicopter and all this. Like, shut your mouth. You have no business commenting on what's going on at that operation. Yeah. If they choose they need a helicopter, they choose they need a helicopter. And we're going to take care, whether you're a cop or a fireman or whatever, we're going to take care of our own regardless. But it turned out he had some really significant injuries. Yeah. The person was commenting, there were a couple people, but he's not that bad, he's conscious and alert and this and that. It turned out he had like internal injuries. He was in, ICU, he was in surgery, had bleeds inside his body and stuff. Like, and I'm not going to get into all the stuff that went on with him, but he needed a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, so here we are bashing right away, these cops. We're not about bashing people. Stop looking at the negatives. Stop making comments. Why are we Monday morning quarterbacking these things?
I have to say this, though. A lot of the comments that you see are fake profiles. People just love
Some
to
are.
stir the pot.
They stir the
Sure,
pot,
sure there are
and some
people-
people do just throw shit out there and see what happens. You
Yeah.
know, like throw it at the wall and see what happens.
Yeah.
But there's no need for it.
It's funny. My brother asked me the other day. He said, "Hey, I wanted to ask you from a firefighter's perspective, the wildfires out west." He's like, operationally, he's like, "Do you think that there was something they did wrong, did differently, or could have done?" And I just said to him, like, I wasn't there. I'm like, but given those circumstances that they were up against, operationally, I'm pretty sure they did whatever they could in that moment, and it's just they had everything working against them. So, like, you know, sometimes you have people reach out or ask you a question about, hey, you know, given this situation, you know,
The winds they have out there, it's just
yeah.
insane.
I was saying, I'm like, you get wind with fire, you know, and that type of wind with that type of fire, forget about it.
I will say somebody posted Facebook yesterday or last night a clip of a documentary from like 1961 about a fire that happened in LA, and they ran out of water, hydrants wound up dry. It's like, it's all the same stuff. This is back from a fire in the 50s or early 60s. They had the same problem. In this day and age, we haven't figured out how to handle this. I don't get it.
Isn't there water problems? Don't they have?
Yeah.
Like, and it's probably more of a political thing, but they're like routing the water down. From
Well, they have
China,
reservoirs and
it's
stuff
going
like that.
to the Pacific where they could be using it more inland.
Yeah. I heard that, you know, that's the type of
Let's
stuff. I
not
don't
get
get
into
involved
this
in.
semantic. Listen, whatever happens, happens. But, you know, people across the country really need to wake up. They worry about the fire department when they need them. They worry about the ambulance when they need them. They worry about the police when they need them. Every other time, they could care less. People need to smarten up. They need to prepare themselves. And, you know, I'm not saying you need to take care of yourself, but you do need to, in a way, you got to make sure you have smoke detectors. You got to make sure you have fire extinguishers. You got to make sure you have things that you can handle right away or try to protect yourself and your family. And that comes with preparing your home. You know, maybe building homes that are non-fireproof, fireproof or partially fireproof, or, you know, residential sprinkler systems, even sprinkler systems on the outside of the houses. But if those were concrete buildings or, you know, some sort of something that can't burn on the outside of that building, whether it's concrete type of shingle or a terracotta type of roof and soffits and stuff like that, it wouldn't have burned. You know, you look at what Italy, Greece, you know, a lot of these, you know, and obviously it's a little older, but concrete buildings. It's a little safe. We're building buildings out of wood. We're putting like vinyl siding, wood shingles on these homes, and they're susceptible to fire. Not only that, we like a lot of, you know, and listen, I love trees and bushes and shrubs and all that stuff too, but we surround our houses with them. We build in houses in the middle of the woods, and then was like, oh, geez, there's a fire, and it's going to burn down the whole block. We got to wake up. We got to get smarter, and we got to prepare ourselves for the worst case scenario.
I went to a fire like that last year. You couldn't even see. All you saw was a glow in the woods, and it could have been a bonfire. You couldn't even tell. Ladder truck had no chance of making it down this driveway. We were parked on a side street. Engines were all outside. We were cutting through the woods with chainsaws. I had a 24 on my shoulder, and I'm just like making my way like through trees and stuff. I'm like, this is a disaster. And it was. I don't remember if the fire was necessarily that bad. It was vacant. There was no one home or anything. But it was a real pain trying to get in there when it was like wooded.
What's the screen?
I can fix that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, I understand. We like trees. We like to be somewhat environmentally friendly. But if you look at preparation or you take a wildfire class, they'll tell you, you know, your house needs to be clear about 30 feet around and, you know, from any type of combustible material. You got to thin out forests or do burns, you know, scheduled burns or prescribed burns, and burn some of this area out so that it doesn't burn again. You know, you have to prepare for this stuff. If you're not going to do that, they had a fire in Hawaii that had a similar consequence of LA. Like, we didn't learn from that one. They've
Right.
been telling them for years, you need to prepare for this stuff, and they didn't.
Well, it's the way that people look at most things, when they're either building something, making an addition to a building, the way they make their yard. How many, you talk to these people that are in LA that lived in those areas their whole life and haven't seen anything like that.
Right.
So they're not thinking about that 1 in a million chance, but when
in
it
a
does
million.
happen, yeah, you're fucked.
Well, and the fire service has always been very reactive. We wait till something happens bad, and then we say, we got to change a policy. If somebody gets injured really bad, we change a policy. Somebody gets killed, we change a policy. And I think the fire service after 9/11 got a little more proactive rather than reactive. And we've always been a little proactive in certain ways. But, when it comes up to budgeting time, you say, we need this, we need this, we need this. And they're like, that'll never happen. We don't have the money for that. We can't invest in this. We don't need as many firefighters. We don't have fires. And every time we do that and we start knuckling ourselves down, less firefighters, less rigs, closing firehouses, all this stuff, and then you have a big operation like this and you say, wow, maybe we do need more. We have to be ready to go. And I understand money is money, and the bigwigs at the top have to look at everything and say, where do we put our funds that makes the most sense? And I can understand that. But you can't give up on, fire department is an insurance policy. It's just another insurance policy. And I hate to say insurance because it's not. But you can't always rely on insurance. You got to be prepared for what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, let's get into the FireStore. Where are these guys? In the world of firefighting and public safety, reliability is key. That's why for over 2 decades, first responders nationwide have trusted the FireStore as their go-to source for top-tier equipment, apparel, and accessories. Featuring industry-leading brands like MSA Cairns for helmets, Streamlight for dependable flashlights, and Seek for cutting-edge thermal imaging cameras, the FireStore equips you with the best tools to tackle any challenge. But it doesn't stop there. From EMS supplies to flame-resistant apparel and high-visibility gear, the FireStore has everything you need to stay safe and prepared on the job. Partnered with the most trusted names in the industry, the FireStore is committed to providing quality and innovation because when lives are on the line, there's no room for compromise. Join the thousands of first responders who rely on the FireStore. Visit thefirestore.com, your reliable partner for fire and public safety equipment.
Kevin, you brought up Seek thermal imaging cameras last week. Our Chiefs, and you were talking about the personals.
I forgot to bring it.
Oh, I forgot to bring it?
Yeah, I should have brought it
My
next
Chiefs
time.
were telling me our Chiefs have them in their cars, and the 40 and 41, they have them as well.
Nice.
So I'm going to check it out. I've never seen them before.
Yeah, they're really cool.
More personal, less like of, something you'd have on the truck, which is cool. I got to check them out.
Yeah, they have both. They have a full-size camera that you can hold, just like MSA or, Scout or any of these other brands that are out there.
Yeah, I got to check them out.
But I'll definitely bring it in.
Yeah, we're going to bring some props in here.
I wanted to touch on what you had put out there, officer qualities, the good and the bad. And
we've all seen it,
Yeah.
both sides of it. So
I put for good qualities an officer, calm, cool, and collected, always present, open to suggestions, praises in public, reprimands in private, finds ways to better his members and department as a whole, and consistently looking to learn. The bad qualities, being a know-it-all, belittling members in front of others, complaining about their department, bare minimum training, looks down on others.
agreed. Absolutely.
Phil, where do you fit in that as a current officer?
Let's ask his members. Please send us a message.
Like I said, I was talking about pride last week. I always try and I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
You spoke about your pride in your company last week and mentioned how, when you went to the arch detail, you didn't have to be there, but you did go. That way, the guys in your company can see, hey, my captain is there,
Right.
And that's one of the when I was writing out the good qualities I actually took from that because, always present I think is important. And that I think was definitely a good statement you made from last week.
Mm-hmm. something I was going to elaborate on last week too, but I know we were in a rush because you had to get out of here. Um, I think a lot of it has to do with the perception of being, because you're saying being present. I think perception's a lot of it too. So I keep saying this over and over, but I'm at a point in my life, I'm sure you are too, and you're probably went through this and are past this now, where you don't have as much time as you once did. And I think I'm trying my best right now to at least make it so that the members and chiefs and other officers perceive that I am as active as I can possibly be.
So you're faking it? Is that what you're telling us?
I'm not faking it, but I'm trying to make it, when it's something important, I really try hard to be there. Maybe like weekday calls and stuff are hard, although I'll go work from the firehouse every now and then, bring my computer with me. But I think like the presence of officers is super important. Continue with what you're saying, because I had something else and I lost it.
I was saying, just that's a good thing to have when you have somebody around. And to what you're saying, you try to be around as much as you can. And I actually had one time I had run into one of the guys in my company, not like this current company or anything, but I was just asking him, because he hasn't really been around all that much. And, he's only in, 2-3 years. So I was just talking to him or whatever. And one of the things that he said was, my officer's not around. And that speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
And, that's why what you were talking about last week, I made sure to put into this one, for good qualities, because obviously it's different. You could have an officer that's around all the time, but he's an asshole and he sucks to be around. But the way, I guess, the way you explain it is you're putting in that effort to be there as an officer, to be there for your guys regardless of the situation.
You know what I was thinking about? I was helping my father out with a job today, like I was telling you. And being there, he has all the experience. He's retired from the New York City Carpenters Union, and we're just doing side work together. And it kind of made me think, like, if I was there by myself and I didn't know what to do, say I'm framing walls, doing ceilings, whatever I'm doing, the first thing I do is I go, yo, how do I do this? What am I doing here? How do I lay this out? Where I feel like when you're not around at the firehouse as much, and these new guys are going on calls and stuff and stupid shit, like, all right, I remember when I was a probie, I'm like, all right, I show up to the firehouse, put my gear on. What do I do? What truck do I get on? What's my job when I get on that truck? Like little shit like that you don't know. And when you're new, like I always tell the new guys, ask questions. You got a red shield, ask questions. People are going to know that the questions are coming.
No stupid questions as a probie.
Right, yeah. And, no, there's no harm in it. Like I know guys may be like, oh, I don't want to, be asking questions, like feel like I don't know anything, but like you don't know anything. It's okay.
It's not the place that you don't want to ask questions, because if you
exactly.
don't know what you're doing and you're afraid to get your balls broken about something, you don't ask that question. You're a new guy. That question might save someone's life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's no real stupid question. I mean, well, there could be, but if you don't ask, then you're not going to learn anything. So we have to stay on top of that. But also as a company officer, like know your people, know what their capabilities are, kind of, understand who they are. If they are not showing up or they're not around, reach out to them. Like we said this, pick up the phone. You haven't seen a person in a couple of weeks. Where are they? What's going on? Did something bad happen? Do they need help? We got to look at that. But even as chiefs, there's been a lot of talk the last few years, especially leadership. That's like the focus now. Who's a real leader? And there's a difference from being a leader and just being a manager, right? A manager kind of just, it's kind of status quo. A leader has a vision. A leader has more of a plan. A leader wants to take you somewhere, maybe somewhere you haven't been before. That's a leader. So it's got to have that motivation and everything. So, it doesn't end at the company officer rank. It also goes right into the chief's rank. And with the volunteer fire service, it's even more important.
I agree. And to answer the point with the chiefs, and I think you said it before, showing up to a drill, the guy that's running the drill in shorts and flip-flops, you're like, what the fuck? But
it's a waste of time.
One thing that I've seen, with my chiefs and some of the chiefs before that is during a department drill, you have a couple of like groups that are doing different things, and there might be a line. We're doing force entry, so there's a line. One guy forces the door, they close it up, the next guy goes, and everyone's geared up. And then I look over and I see one of the chiefs fully geared up in line waiting for his turn to do it. He didn't skip the line. He wasn't sitting there with his, and I'm saying one, it was multiple chiefs all geared up, ready to go, drilling with the guys.
So we just had that at our Forcible entry drill. Two of our chiefs came, and they were both fully geared up. And we talked about this in the training committee as well. The chiefs need to set the example. Even the instructors, you need to do the skills. Show them how to do it, and this way they can see, they're doing it too. It's not just, but both chiefs, went to each station with their group, and they operated the saws, they forced the doors, they did it just like everybody else. And just because you get to the chief's rank doesn't mean you're done. You're not done learning, and there are other things that I think we should be looking at with chiefs because, especially in the volunteer service, we elect them, but, it's like, do we teach them chief stuff? Well, in the professional world, we teach our chiefs of how to handle things and what to do. And, we don't always do that here. I mean, when was the last time our chiefs out here went through Mayday training? And it's not just you have to worry about one Mayday. What if you have multiple Maydays? How do you handle multiple Maydays? How do you handle accountability? How do you assign your chiefs when you're at a fire? Does anybody tell you how to do that? We don't teach chiefs that, and they need to. And it's not just going to an officer training course or, a state program or a county program or whatever. There's got to be more to it. There's other avenues like, the Fire Academy down in Emmitsburg down there. What the heck is the name of it? Oh, God, I'm drawing a blank right now. But, there are options out there for professional leadership training programs and how to do things.
Now, I think there's certain guys who have it in them. They have that leadership streak in them.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that I find interesting is sometimes you get guys that are real good leaders that the guys that are coming up underneath them, that precedent has been set. And those guys beneath them know how to be leaders because of them. And then there's also the ones who you have a good leader, and then the guy that comes up after them is shit. Mm-hmm. So,
or riding the coattails, and
riding
and
coattails.
that's part of the problem too with chiefs that wind up becoming micromanagers. They handle everything. They don't want anybody. They can't trust anybody. And then when it's the next person's turn, they have no clue of what to do because that one person handled everything. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. And the chiefs have to motivate and train people and bring people up. We need to build up the people below us. And one of the things I say is, how deep is our bench? If we lose that one guy, are there other people that are trained to that level that can take over that position for them? Right. And that's part of our job as a leader or as officers is to train the people below us, give them something to look forward to. Yeah, where are they going to go down the line? And we have to be able to get to the point where we can trust our people to do the job without us. So, and this is a line. I wrote it down because I didn't want to screw this up. But, a good day for a chief is when they can guide us to the point that they can trust their people to operate, make good decisions, and operate flawlessly. To the point that the chief can almost sit back, put their feet up on a desk, because the organization has been led to that point.
Right.
And that's really what it comes down to. We want to train our people to the point where we don't have to worry about anything, that they can handle pretty much any operation unless needed. And when you look in the professional service, we'll get back to circles again at some point.
Yeah.
But the chief of department in most places is an administrative officer.
Yeah, I remember
and
you saying that.
they do, stuff that our district managers do, but they only come out when there's a problem, when there's a major alarm or emergency or fire, like the mayor's going to show up, then you show up, you better be there kind of thing. They respond from home and stuff like that. But that's the way it works. Here, we don't really do that. All our chiefs are involved in response. They got to be out there on a regular basis. and we fail sometimes, or a lot of times, on the administrative end.
I think the big disconnect with, say, having a good leader, they go out, and then there's the person underneath them that comes up is, and I've seen this, in just like my regular professional work, where one of my jobs a few years ago was, hey, this store is having an issue with numbers. Go there, figure out what's going on. Talk to the manager there. Talk to the employees. And one of the disconnects that I think happens, and it's almost like sad, because you have somebody that goes into that position that's looking to do the right thing. They're all for the people. They want to get everyone rallied up, ready to go. But to your point before, what you were saying is they take on all that responsibility themselves without even realizing that they're doing it.
And I've done it, and I still do it to this day sometimes. Not in the way, and sometimes it might look like micromanagement, but you give people jobs, you give people assignments,
no, I'm not,
then they don't get it done.
Right,
and then you wind up doing it
yeah.
anyway. So that's a problem too. If we're going to set responsibility, accountability, people have to step up to the plate. So sometimes there's things that you have to handle. There's no way around it. You have to be involved. But there are people, especially in the volunteer service, and when people volunteer their time, and you give them an assignment or a job or a duty, and they don't do it, or they don't follow through, or they don't bring it to the point that you want. And even if you call them 1,000 times and harp on them and say, I need you to do this, it's like, I can't do it. So, chiefs get assignments or duties or jobs. They have to fully function in that realm of being a leader of that responsibility. And if you're not, then you have to get somebody that's going to do it for you. But it's good and bad.
Right.
There has to be accountability. There has to be responsibility. There has to be timelines. Things have to get done, because if it doesn't, everything fails.
It also has to be, giving somebody it's the way you delegate also. Instead of just saying, hey, Phil, go do this. I need this to get done. Obviously, under certain circumstances, you're out of work and fire. Hey, man, I need you to start stretching a line for me. Right. But it's the way that you say it to them. Make it look like it's their it's their not their job.
Differentiate an
their idea,
an order from like a request.
Right, but
like
what I'm saying,
an order.
Yeah, there's order, but what I'm saying is, if you have to delegate a task, instead of saying, "Hey, you go do this," you have to, let them know that, "Hey, man, like, this is your opportunity to shine." Mm-hmm. Not just, "Hey, go pull that hose line." Like, "Hey, man, that fire's coming. I need you to get a line out there and make it your bitch."
We need that, like, and not even you could have it like as like a, we need that hose line there now.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's a big thing.
That type of like.
And I think some people miss that mark.
Well, we could all take different paths and get to the same thing, right? We can still get to the same point. We're mission driven. So you say, I need a ladder at that window. How they get it there may not be the way you'd like to do it, or may not be the right way, but as long as the ladder gets to the window, the mission's accomplished, right?
Right.
So, and that comes back to where you were talking about giving them a timeline and saying, you have 10 minutes to get this job done. Make sure it's done, right? It's accountability, it's timeline, stuff like that. But we can all take different roads and get to the same place. Even with your training, your knowledge, experience down the line, it's just getting that job done. Right. And we have to be careful of how that's done.
Right. You have people like to have power, right? And it's a matter of how much power you give them and what they're supposed to do with that power. So, like, for instance, when you're an officer, you want to train the guys underneath you to be officers, all of them. Your next guy up that you think is, this guy's ready to be the next officer, if there's something else, whether it's administrative, you're running a drill or something like that, you could say to that guy in private, "Hey, these other guys in our company, they look up to you and they want to follow what you do." And kind of give them that reassurance, like, "Hey, man, like, you got people that are looking up to you, so get this task done to the best of your ability, but it's got to be done right and on time." But it's just the way that you word certain things that, you could really change somebody's perspective. because they're learning from a shit officer. That's all they're going to know.
Yeah.
So, like, what we were just bringing back is how to keep that chain connected when you have a guy that's a really good officer that comes in and the person below him comes in and doesn't do a good job. Like, those are just some of the ways to connect that chain link. That way, everyone going up the ranks is solid and squared away.
And we want to teach them to take that position and do it right. So, even with parameters. So, an example, when I was chief, we were building a rescue truck. So they had a committee and they had some meetings and, and I would occasionally just ask, how's it going? It was still early on, and I started hearing some of the things that were possibly happening. I said, I'm coming to the next meeting. When is it? So I went there and I said, I need to rein you in a little. And they're like, what do you mean? This is what we decided. This is a committee. I go, there's going to be some parameters. I said, the truck can't be more than 40 feet long. The truck can't have a wheelbase over 250. They wanted this monstrosity. And I get it, but it comes to a certain point where you say enough's enough. We're building rigs bigger and bigger, wider and wider. What are we doing? Our last tower ladder was like 103 inches wide. Things get crazy. So a couple of people were upset about it, but I said just keep it to 40 feet. Whatever you got to do, but just some certain parameters. And then they worked within them. So what do you think the length of the truck came in at? 39 feet, 8 inches.
I was just going to say 39.
Yeah, just under.
I'll tell
with
you.
a 250 wheelbase. They're like right on. So
I'll tell you who I want to make rigs is whoever works at fucking Hess. my two nephews
You want a Hess truck?
They got these Hess trucks, and my nephew's showing me. I think one of the cameras is gone. Oh, there it is.
Oh, we're dying. Yeah.
My nephew's look at my Hess truck. It had a chief's car inside the truck and a motorcycle. Can you imagine that shit?
why not?
Pull out the rescue truck and just like, I got motorcycle.
Where was it? Like Daytona or something? Had motorcycles for EMS. They were riding around, like.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah. Like when the Daytona 500's going on or a spring break, I guess to get around, it's just easier.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at New York City now, they got those, the cops are driving around those smart cars, the little cars.
Oh, yeah. Those things
it's
look
like
ridiculous.
insane. Like
They look absolutely ridiculous, those things.
you see like Hightower from the police academy getting out of it, holding onto the roof, trying to pull himself out.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, man.
It's wild stuff.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up
Wrap it
this
up.
week, episode 4.
Number 4.
And
We're a month,
that's a month of,
deep into this.
yeah, we're in the that 10% of podcasts that makes it past episode 3. So thank you,
Awesome.
everybody, and
Spread the word.
Spread the word. And we got some cool stuff coming up in the next month or so.
Yep.
I gotta get my voice. I'm gonna need freaking holes.
You
next
need a
time.
holes?
Yeah, I'm good now. We're done.
Yeah, we went this whole meeting with nothing to drink. This whole meeting.
Yeah.
Meeting?
Yeah.
Now you're in a meeting.
Nothing.
Thank
to
you for
drink.
coming to
Awesome.
this important meeting.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Alrighty.
All right.
We'll see you
Episode
guys next week.
See ya.
Awesome.